Of course, as we go throughout this year and prepare ourselves for a brand new console and a reveal hopefully coming soon, the internet decides to go back and make another argument over something ridiculous. So right now on Twitter, there's a big debate on which console was better, the Wii U or the Switch. And I'm not joking. There are people out there that are calling the Wii U the golden era and that the Switch just didn't amount to it. Now look, I'm not just going to jump on here and say the Switch is superior and that's it. I actually had to take the sides of both of them because as a day one Wii U and Switch owner, I've played from the very beginning of both of these consoles, and I've really gotten almost every single game on both of them, so I can really experience exactly what it is that the Wii U owners experienced and also what every Switch owner experienced. So I'm going to break down both of these consoles and talk about where they both strive and also where some of them might fall short. But hey, before we continue, stop what you're doing and leave a like and subscribe. A lot of you watching this video are not yet subscribed, and we've been getting over 100 subscribers each day, so let's keep the ball rolling. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let's dive into the video. Let's start off talking about software, and let's start with the Wii U. And I feel like a lot of people downplay some of the games that the Wii U had. It had a lot of original games, such as Mario Kart 8, which was huge, Mario 3D World, Xenoblade. They had a new Mario Maker game, which was the first in the franchise. They started another first in the franchise with Splatoon, which obviously grew to be massive. Mario Tennis was the only sport, and Mario Party only had one game on the Wii U as well. Star Fox Zero was a thing. We don't have a Star Fox game on the Switch. We had a Yoshi's Crafted World, a brand new Smash Brothers game, which was a pretty big stray away from the last one, which was Smash Brawl. We had a new Donkey Kong Country, Pikmin 3, and yes, you could even say Breath of the Wild, since it was at the very last tail end of the Wii U. It did still come out on the Wii U. There's a lot of other games we can mention too, like a new Paper Mario, even if it was Color Splash, and Nintendo Land, which was one of the coolest games ever. I'm not biased at all. But yeah, the Wii U had games, and people can't really take that away. You have your big Mario, you have your big Zelda, you have your Mario Kart, you have your Smash Brothers, and you have new IPs like Splatoon, and also the fact that you start a brand new franchise which might even grow into the near future, being Mario Maker. So the Wii U did a lot of good things for software. But ultimately, it was still missing some huge things that the Switch had. For instance, it didn't have core franchises that we love now, like Luigi's Mansion. There was no mainline Kirby, we just got Rainbow Curse, and there was no Fire Emblem game and no mainline Animal Crossing game. And we could go to others because the Switch had lots of games, and it has lots of games. When I say lots of games, there were lots of Wii U ports, of course, but you also had older ports, remakes, and even remasters from all throughout Nintendo's history. This felt like the ultimate console, but there were also lots of new titles, don't be fooled. You had two mainline Kirby games, a 2D and the first 3D Kirby game ever. You had an open sandbox 3D Mario game, which we haven't seen since Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. You have a Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which is a sequel of Breath of the Wild, on the same console, even though yes, Breath of the Wild did technically come out on the Wii U as well. You had two Splatoon games. Let that sink in. Two Splatoon games. You had a mainline Animal Crossing, Smash Ultimate, which is one of the greatest Smash games of all time, arguably. You have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with tons of DLC, adding tons of more tracks throughout the franchise, two new Xenoblade Chronicle games, Luigi's Mansion 4, and tons of Pokemon games, including two brand new gens. And you also had 3 Mario sports titles and 2 Mario parties. Don't forget, there was a sequel to Mario Maker. You had a brand new Paper Mario game, which a lot of people actually enjoyed, even though it still stayed kind of the same as Sticker Star and Color Splash. But also you had new IPs like ARMS, and you also had an amazing return for Metroid with Metroid Dread. There was a lot to love on the Nintendo Switch, and I still didn't even cover all of them, like some of the awesome Mario RPGs that came back from past, like Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, Mario RPG, and even a brand new RPG started up with Mario Rabbids, 2 games from them. And yes, also Metroid Prime making a grand return, with rumors suggesting Prime 2 and 3. I mean, this console is just the ultimate playing console to play the past games and even new games. Now, the only new things that the console has been missing was an original Donkey Kong and a Star Fox game, which it did have Battle for Atlas, which was close, but it never really had Star Fox. And I guess you could also say it was missing Captain Toad, but with ARMS being there and even Mario Rabbids, I think it was easily replaced with others. And I almost forgot, Fire Emblem thankfully we also got 2 mainline games on the Switch, which we didn't see any on the Wii U. So the final verdict, Switch wins this hands down. There's so many new games and so many fan favorite old games that were brought back from the past, like Mario RPG, Metroid Prime, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and other fan favorites. Zelda may not have gotten Wind Waker or Twilight Princess yet, but we did have Link's Awakening, which was a complete remake, and also we got Skyward Sword. But yes, it may have felt a little dim at times. If you were a Wii U owner, you probably seen a lot of the games that were releasing some years, but at the same time, there was lots of new games to keep us busy as well, and I didn't even mention all the smaller titles in between. For instance, like 2 WarioWare games. So yeah, Nintendo definitely cooked more with the Switch. Also, I'd like to throw in there that the Switch also beat the Wii U with 2D Mario. Yeah, New Super Mario Bros. U. It was a good game and all, but like, no, it's not Wonder. It's not Wonder at all. Wonder definitely took it above and beyond, just exceeded all my expectations, besides the boss battles. Now let's talk about the actual hardware and the interface of these consoles. Well, the Wii U gamepad worked great for some games like Mario Maker, but could be a drag for other games like Splatoon, where you had to use that, or this contraption. Why did Nintendo ever think this was going to be a thing? But this was the first console that gave us HD Nintendo games, so that was a huge plus. The menu was fun to look at, being just like the Wii, but just more fancier with tons of colors and icons and even little themes playing in the background. It was like one song, even if you count it as a song, but a jingle, if anything. But yeah, it was just a very clean, fun to look at, hub menu. The eShop actually felt like a shop, and it didn't lag and drag. It felt very smooth, like a nice little app you would have on your phone. And it also had music playing the entire time, and the music would change based on the holidays or a game release, and it was really cool. Not to mention that you had Virtual Console, and not just any, almost every. I think the only console that they were missing was GameCube. You had your NES, SNES, Game Boy Advance. I'm not sure if the original Game Boy was here, 100%, but yeah, Nintendo 64, even your DS. Yes, there were DS games thanks to the gamepad, and Wii games all in Virtual Console. Yes, it's just something special about being able to purchase old games and knowing that you can keep them. There's no subscription service or anything like that, which also reminds me that the online was completely free for Nintendo Wii U. We didn't pay anything. The Wii U also had Miiverse, which at the time was like a kid-friendly Nintendo Twitter. And it was awesome because you could like watch people comment live and like see all their posts and things that they found in games, and there was like a whole community and you could go to different communities. It was kind of like a Twitter Reddit where you can like go through the Mario community and Zelda and stuff and just chat with friends and fans, and it was awesome. This was like really cool, and then they just got away with it and we've never seen it return on Switch. So that was a really cool feature that's just gone. Now let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. It was obviously a revolutionary console to be able to play on the TV and on the go. It wasn't just tied to like the gamepad was to the room where you couldn't leave the room or disconnect. You'd go anywhere in the world with your Nintendo Switch, and then you can bring it home, slap it on a TV. It's truly amazing. Now the menu, however, is very boring and dull. All you have is black and white themes with no music, no sound effects, nothing. It's very just businessy. It's straight to the point. Here's your games, here's your settings, let's play. There's no other channels or things to look at or do inside of the Switch menu, really. And the Mii Maker option is just kind of tied to a setting. It's not even on its own little channel or anything. It's just very awkwardly just thrown into the settings of the Switch. The Switch has no Virtual Console, and the eShop is horrendously bad. I mean, I've always known it was pretty bad, but I really just got to sit and really figure out how bad it was recently, getting the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC downloaded and also the Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC. It's like navigating the world's first computer. It is so laggy, it's so slow, it's like it's running off of some third-party website that you have to slowly navigate through, type in slowly what you're looking for, it takes forever to load. I can't believe how bad, how laggy, and how just gross this eShop is. And maybe it's because it's chock full of games, and I'm like, they're little tiny weird games, normal games, all kind of games that I guess Nintendo just allows pretty much almost anyone to put a game on this eShop. It's just full of even like mobile games too. It's so strange. But yeah, there's no colors, it's just white and orange. There's no music, no theme, no sound, nothing. It's just like this dark, creepy scroll on this horrible website. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with this. You also now have to pay for a subscription service to play online games, and you get games out of it, but it's just the same games you probably bought on your Wii U or your Wii so long ago. Yes, it's just more Virtual Console games that you don't even own, you're just renting them. And if you want to play other games like Game Boy Advance and Nintendo 64, you gotta pay like an extra $20, and you're looking at a total of like $80 a year, which is just, It's just mad, especially considering the fact that you don't own these games, and I'm afraid to see what the future holds when eventually we move on to a console that's like, nope, we don't have this anymore, and then just like, okay, all those games that I was playing, I don't get to own any of them. Yeah, Virtual Console still, in my opinion, is just the better option. So the overall verdict is that the Switch is just an overall better console. It is better with its portability and the fact that you can play at home, but the Wii U had more care and love put into the interface with the eShop, the various different channels that you could explore, and just the theming all around the console itself, and the fact that you didn't pay for online and you had Virtual Console. So where the Switch was clearly a better console, the Wii U definitely had a better interface. And thanks to that interface being so much better and a lot cheaper, I'm going to give the Wii U the edge in this category. Next, I want to talk about the presentation. This is the shows that they gave us and the charm that they had. The Wii U had some pretty Nintendo Directs. I feel like a lot of people remember them because of their charm, not necessarily because of their content, because they were very slow. They would talk about one game for almost half the show, and they would slowly drip feed very little titles. And they weren't always the best, for sure. However, their E3 showings were pretty cool. They had one where they were like the Muppets for Star Fox was really cool. A Robot Chicken sketch, yeah, where they had like Robot Chicken characters and all the Nintendo characters as Robot Chicken models. And it was just fun. They even had one where it was called the Reginator, where the Reggie was a robot and somebody was controlling him to walk around and stuff to promote their E3 show. They just had a lot of stuff like that that was just fun to watch. It got us hyped. They would announce these months in advance and just get us ready for these shows, where now we're lucky to get, you know, a day in advance before giving us information of a Nintendo Direct. But most of this was thanks to Iwata, of course, because he just had this charm to him where he liked to have fun with his announcements and liked to have fun with his shows. So that Nintendo is kind of gone since his passing, unfortunately. They were also extremely generous with the Wii U. This could also be from Iwata, but also the fact that maybe the Wii U was just a dying console, so they didn't care anymore. But literally, if you just owned Mario Kart 8, you got a bonus game for free. No joke, you get a whole game for just owning Mario Kart 8. That was so crazy. I mean, these games were good games too. Nintendo Land, Super Mario Bros. U, Game & Wario, Pikmin 3, Wind Waker? Are you kidding me? I remember I never played Wind Waker before, and this is how I was able to. I was like, oh, free Wind Waker. Let's finally give it a try. So, like, yeah, it was absolutely nuts that Nintendo was this generous. Now, let's talk about the Switch. The Directs were way better, with some really huge surprises and announcements that were mentioned in some of these. And yeah, we're not even talking about the best presentation ever, which was the Switch presentation in January of 2017, which revealed so many games. Splatoon 2, ARMS, Mario Odyssey, just tons of great titles, and a brand new Breath of the Wild trailer. There was lots of big reveals and surprises, especially with the Smash ones, which had some crazy character reveals that literally broke Twitter multiple times. The shows are more corporate though. However, Nintendo's charm just seemed to drip away when Iwata passed, and now it's just like very corporate feeling directs. It's just like, here's your headlines, that's it, no jokes, no fun details, no little like playing around. We're not wasting any time, which a lot of people probably like. It's just straight to the point and then they're done. But yeah, their charm has seeped out from that. But there still was times where there was charm for specific games, and especially year one. Year one felt like Nintendo really wanted to just go all out and just advertise everything, because the advertisement for Wii U and the marketing was just bad, where they made sure they just went above and beyond with the Switch. Mario Odyssey had giant events around the globe and like a whole New York event and launch reveal thing, and Breath of the Wild coverages, a whole E3 dedicated to that game, and just so much, you know, marketing and advertisements and trailers, you know, with the Game Awards and with Super Bowls and all kinds of ads on TV. Nintendo was really just trying to hype up all of these games, and year one, like I said, specifically felt so big for the Switch. You still had your Nintendo Treehouse events, and you had all types of little events around the world, and Nintendo was really just feeling like that charming Nintendo again. But I'm not gonna lie, since 2017, it really hasn't felt that way. So the overall verdict is that the Switch had better shows and reveals, but the Wii U carried more charm and love with their shows than ever before. But at the same time, a lot of that charm is not gonna carry enough people to be interested in these shows. The shows themselves weren't that good. There weren't that many game reveals, and the charm was sweet and all, but charm can only go so far until people start to get bored of the same boring shows and less lesser and lesser reveals. And the Switch did have moments of really high peaks with its charm as well, like in 2017, even though it did drop down to very low troughs as well. But overall, I think the Switch had the best Nintendo Directs and E3 presentations with the best surprise reveals, and also did have a little bit of charm here and there, so the Switch is also going to win this one. Let's talk about sales real quick. Do we even need to talk about this? Probably not, but I just want to let you guys know how well the Switch is, and maybe you didn't put it like side by side, but the Wii U had only sold 13.56 million units. Yeah. And when you see it in comparison, you'll see why I'm saying this. But the best-selling game was Mario Kart 8 with 8.46 million copies sold, and Mario 3D World at second with 5.89 million copies. Let's move on to the Switch. The Switch sold around 140 million units so far and still going strong. 140 million to Wii U's 13 million. And the best-selling game on the Switch was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 60.58 million compared to Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U with 8.46 million. And Animal Crossing New Horizons was in second with 44.79 million compared to Wii U's 5.89 million from Mario 3D World. So yeah, it's very clear verdict here that the Switch is just an absolute monster in sales and just did not even come close to the Wii U. In fact, the Switch is selling so well, it sits right behind the Nintendo DS at the second place for best-selling consoles and the PlayStation 2. And it's creeping up very close to them. So I can see why Nintendo may have internally delayed the next console because they want to push this Switch as far as it can go to reach that amount. Because man, that's amazing. So yeah, it's pretty insane to me right now that there's people out there on Twitter literally saying that the Wii U is a golden year for Nintendo and that the Switch just never lived up to it. It's just absolutely crazy wrong. I lived it and I loved it. I loved the Wii U from day one, and the same thing with the Switch, and I got to see everything that both of these consoles had to offer from the very beginning to the very end. And I can tell you as a huge Wii U fan that the Switch is just better. It had better games, better directs and presentations, less droughts, and just an overall awesome console with the way that its portability works. The Wii U will always have a place in my heart and definitely still had its great moments and memories over time. However, let's just stop fighting for which side is better. They're both Nintendo. Wii U was Nintendo's dark age after all because of just how little it sold, and that's just a fact. But we all had fun that had Wii U's. We all enjoyed our Wii U's and the games that came with them, and we are probably all enjoying our Switches and the games that came with it as well. They're both Nintendo consoles. Why are we fighting over which one was better? They're both parts of Nintendo's history, whether we love it or not. And they did some amazing things for us Nintendo fans. And let's just be glad that we got to experience both of them and that Nintendo is at such a high point right now in the video game market. But let me know in the comments down below if you were blessed enough to be able to play the Wii U from the very beginning. Which console did you have the most fun with? Where are most of your best memories with? And what did you feel like was the better console? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.